The FIFA Club World Cup quarterfinals are officially here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for each of the quarterfinal matches. In the round of 16, we saw some crazy results. We saw the second best team in Europe, Inter Milan, get completely destroyed by Fluminense. We saw AlHilal smoke Man City 4-3, and we also saw Inter Miami lose 4-0 against PSG. But in today's video, I'm going to be predicting all of the score lines for these highly anticipated quarterfinal matches. As always, if you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree with my predictions, remember to leave your predictions for the quarterfinal matches down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. So without further ado, let's get right into these predictions. Starting off with the first match, we have Fluminense against AlHilal. Obviously, I am wearing the Fluminense top, and I am a fan of Fluminense. In the Brazilian league, Fluminense are my favorite team. And against Inter Milan, in my round of 16 prediction video, I actually predicted that Fluminense would beat Inter 1-0. Because Inter Milan, since that Champions League final, have still not recovered. Obviously, they lost Simone Inzaghi, who, by the way, is doing crazy things with AlHilal. I just don't think Christian Kivu is at that level yet. And for that reason, Fluminense will pretty comfortably able to beat Inter Milan. Now, I did expect that Fluminense were going to be very defensive in that last match against Inter, because so far in this FIFA Club World Cup, they have been arguably the best team defensively, where the only goals they conceded was against Ulsan HD. But against Mamelodi Sundowns, against Borussia Dortmund, and against Inter Milan, they kept clean sheets, which is very good. And obviously, we see Thiago Silva leading that defensive line, and he is still a very good defender. Now, coming up against AlHilal, it will be hard to defend them, because we all know that AlHilal are a very good team. They're the best team in Saudi Arabia, and so far in this Club World Cup, they could have beat Real Madrid, and they beat Manchester City, scoring 4 goals against them. And obviously, they have some very good scorers. We see a lot of ex-European players in their squad, but also some other players like Leonardo, who scored 2 goals against Man City. He was absolutely incredible. I think this will be a very tough game, because AlHilal have that amazing attack. They have the ability to score goals. But Fluminense, so far this competition, have been very good defensively. And for that reason, I think against AlHilal, they are going to defend for majority of the game, and they're going to try and score off that counter attack. I just feel like Fluminense will be able to defend them. They'll keep them to 1 goal, and I think Fluminense will score 2. And for that reason, I think Fluminense will beat AlHilal 2-1. Moving on to the next match, we have Palmeiras against Chelsea. Now, I think this is going to be a very tough game, and even though the European giants Chelsea are the favorites against Palmeiras, I think so far in this Club World Cup, Palmeiras have been very good. Now, obviously, they haven't had as difficult fixtures as Chelsea have had, but they have had the better form over Chelsea, as Chelsea did get that 3-1 loss against Flamengo in the group stages, when so far Palmeiras are still undefeated in their last 4 games. We all know that Palmeiras have a very good squad, and in my opinion, they do have arguably the best squad out of all the South American teams. We see players like Richard Rios, Vitor Roque, and obviously the next Pele, Estevao, who will actually be joining Chelsea soon enough. But in this game against Chelsea, they are going to have a few players out. They have a few injuries. A couple players who got a yellow card in their last game will be missing this game against Chelsea. And I do think that will hinder them in this match. And once again, Palmeiras do have incredible players, and they have a very good attack. But if you look at some of their players, especially Estevao, in a lot of big games that Palmeiras play, he doesn't perform. He usually doesn't perform on the biggest stage. And for that reason, in this game against Chelsea, I can't see Palmeiras winning. I think with Chelsea's squad depth, they just have a little bit too much firepower for Palmeiras. And even though Palmeiras defensively have been very good, like I said, with a couple players missing in this match, I don't think they're going to keep Chelsea out. And for that reason, I think Chelsea will win this game 3-1. Moving on to the next game, we have PSG against Bayern Munich. We seem to get this matchup of PSG and Bayern Munich almost every single year. For some reason, they always seem to be coming up against each other. But if you look at these two teams head to head, Bayern have won 7 out of 9 matchups against PSG. PSG have only won 2. And in the last 5 years, Bayern Munich have been winning most of the matchups against PSG. But this is a new and improved PSG team. This is not the old PSG with Messi, with Mbappe, with Neymar. This is not the old PSG with all their veterans. This is a new young squad with a new manager, and they are hungry. They want to win. We've already seen them win 4 trophies this season. We saw them win 3 domestic trophies and the Champions League. And coming up against Bayern Munich, I think PSG are definitely the better team. Now, we've seen certain games in this competition where Bayern Munich were very good on attack. They had a lot of shots, they had a lot of chances. But if we look at some of these games, like that game against Benfica where they lost 1-0, they had so many chances, but they couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And in the last game against Flamengo, yes, they did win that game 4-2, but I would argue that Flamengo were actually the better team for majority of the game. They had more shots, they had more possession, and they probably could have beat Bayern Munich. So it really depends how Bayern Munich play. If they are able to score a lot of their chances, then they could end up beating PSG. But if we see them play similar to how they did against Benfica, they will lose by 3 or 4 goals. But I do think Bayern will play good in this game, but I don't think it will be enough to beat PSG. I just think PSG are too good, and I don't think they're going to lose to Bayern Munich once again. I think PSG will win this game 3-2. It's going to be a crazy high-scoring game, but I do think PSG will advance. And finally, the last matchup we got in the quarterfinals is Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. This is a repeat of the 2024 Champions League final where Real Madrid did end up beating Borussia Dortmund. Even though Borussia Dortmund had many chances in that game, Real Madrid were clearly the better team. And in this matchup, once again, I think Real Madrid are the better team. I think Borussia Dortmund have been pretty good so far in this Club World Cup. They're another team that have been undefeated and they've won each of their last 3 games. But if we look at their last game against Monterrey, they started that game very good and they did get the 2 early goals. But for majority of the rest of the game, I think Monterrey were actually the better team. I don't think Borussia Dortmund created that many chances in the second half. And I thought Monterrey could have probably ended up winning that game. Both of these teams have a few injuries, and I do think Borussia Dortmund can obviously pull off an upset. They are a European giant, and they could beat Real Madrid. And we've seen so far in this Club World Cup, like in that first match against AlHilal, where Real Madrid can be shaky at times. Defensively, they haven't been the best, but they have gotten Rudiger back from injury, and Raul Asensio will not be playing in this match, who I think he has been a little bit of a detriment to Real Madrid's defense. But with Rudiger back in there, I think they look much more solid than they have in previous matches. In their last match against Juventus, they did end up winning that game 1-0, but they could have probably scored another 1 or 2 goals if it wasn't for Juve's incredible goalkeeper. But that shows you that this Real Madrid team are getting better and better under Xabi Alonso. Every single game they play, they are getting more used to his tactics. Obviously, Mbappe is back, Rudiger is back. Their team is coming together, and I don't think Borussia Dortmund stand a chance. I think this will be a pretty comfortable game for Real Madrid, and I think they will win this game 2-0. And that is the end of my predictions for the FIFA Club World Cup quarterfinal matches. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree and you think there may be a few upsets here and there, remember to leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. And obviously, if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.